okay, so how to determine which career path is right for me? We see the career path like this, like stairs, where we have to reach the highest point. But there are many different situations during our lifetime. So maybe you just became father or mother and you don't want to spend so much time on working topics. So I want to say to you that senior is fine as a terminal level. And this is something that nowadays companies understand. But in case you want to continue growing, there are two main approaches. The first one is you can grow horizontally and the other one vertically. In case you are interested in this vertical growth, I put some questions here for you that maybe could help you to take the right decision. So. Okay, so one day we decided that we want to be mobile engineers. We love coding, we like smartphones, so it's like a perfect match. So also we decided that we want to be Android engineers because we want to work with an IDE that actually works. So it's really nice. Hi, iOS mates. So we put a huge effort into learning as much as we can. So we try to ask the right questions, we try to learn from other senior engineers. So at this point, our accountability is low, because usually the company is betting on us, is betting on our future. So we learn, we improve, and then at some point we are promoted to meet Android developers or Android engineers, or what is the same, Android engineer. So at this point we realize that it's not enough to make the code compile, and we need to learn many things that we didn't even know that exist. So here, as Jaroslav mentioned, many people think that being an Android engineer is really easy, right? You only need to learn, you only need to master over Android SDK, deep understanding of Kotlin, ability to design, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, it's basically just calling an API and parsing a JSON. So we continue improving, we move on. At some point, we are promoted to senior engineers, and we realize that it's not just about code anymore. We need soft skills. We need, for example, communication skills. We need also time management, critical thinking. So it's not about code. So also, again, at some point, we think, okay, I have 10 years of experience. I'm performing like an actual senior. So now, what's next? So, good afternoon, everyone. I hope you enjoy all the awesome talks that we had today. This is the last one, so thank you very much for joining me. So you are heroes for being here at 5 p.m. Friday. We all want to grab a beer. So, my name is Juan. I'm a staff Android engineer at Qonto. And in this talk, we will see the paths that lie ahead of us when we reach a senior role, and some questions we should ask ourselves in order to make the right decision. So yeah, coming back to the topic. This is the typical path we used to have and we still have in some companies, right? Once you are senior, the next natural position is to become a manager, because why not? If we are really good at coding, we are really good at people things, right? Of course, why not? So the problem with this approach is if this is something that you are interested in, it's really nice because it's the natural progression. But in case you want to continue being an individual contributor and you want to go to the next level in that path, we have a problem here, right? And also I want to insist on this because transitioning from a senior position to a management role is not a promotion. It's a completely different job. You will need completely different skills. Your daily basis will be completely different. So I want to insist, and in case some manager comes to you and say, hey, you are doing a really good job, and now we are promoting you to manager. Think twice. It's not a promotion. It's a lie. So be careful with that. But fortunately, this has changed over the past few years, and now we have a new ladder. So this applies for medium and big companies. As the team is growing, we need to fill some gaps in the leadership part, also for individual contributors. So now we have to decide, in case we want to continue growing vertically, if we want to be a staff engineer or an engineer manager. So in this case, we have to ask ourselves some questions, right? And also, I want to highlight here that this is like a template, and every single company applies it in a completely different way. So, for example, here, you can see how big companies apply this approach. So, for example, in case of Uber, Google, we have similar approaches, but Microsoft is gamifying the system. So, it's like every single year or every 2 years, you are promoted to the next level, so it's like a game for them. So, yeah, it depends on the company. So in case you are interested in this kind of ladder, investigate really well the career path, the company you want to apply for. In case of management, it's kind of the same. Here is more stable between companies. Again, Microsoft is freestyling again. But yeah, for most of them, it's kind of very much the same. So yeah, first you are engineering manager, then senior engineering manager, director, senior director, and so on. So at Qonto, we have something similar, but we apply a formula in order to know the level. So this formula takes into account 3 main variables: the impact, the variety, and the autonomy, and the outcome of this formula is your level. So in case of the individual contributor track, we go from level 1 to level 7, junior and some kind of principal or distinguished engineer. And then for management, we go from level 3, because as a manager, you need to have experience, so we expect from you to be a senior engineer. So we go from level 3 to level 9. So, okay, we know that we have 2 ladders, but what are the common points and main differences between them? It's clear for most of us that one is more focused on people, and the other one is focused on the technical aspect, right? So while an individual contributor or a staff plus engineer is more focused on topics like, for example, the tech vision, the roadmap, or the scalability. A manager is focused on completely different things, like topics like hiring, conflict resolution, performance evaluation. But there are many common points between both of them. So, for example, here we have business-oriented. And for both cases, you can follow this approach. So all your decisions and proposals have to be aligned with the business goals. So you need to understand how your engineering and management effort contribute to the company's success and profitability. So things like cost-benefits analysis or risk management take a relevant position here. And also, communication and collaboration. Both of them have always been important, right, since our early days in the industry. But now, there is a huge step forward. And I have a question for you at this point. If your technical skills are a 10 out of 10, but your communication skills are a 4 out of 10, do you think people perceive you to be a 10 out of 10 or 4 out of 10? Yeah, exactly. In this kind of roles, we are as good as we can communicate. So, as we improve our ability to communicate, we improve the impact we have within our teams. And it's a tricky thing because no one teaches us how to be a good communicator, right? It's something that we have to learn on our own. Reading books, watching talks, so it's a bit tricky, to be honest. Also, things like mentorship, sponsorship, and delegation. And I want to pay special attention to the first one, to mentorship. I love this quote from Bob Proctor. I'm not sure if you know who is this guy. Bob Proctor was a Canadian writer and coach, and he said that a mentor is someone who sees more talent and ability within you than you see in yourself and helps bring it out of you. And it's completely true, right? Because sometimes we don't believe in ourselves, and having someone close to us who really cares about us contributes a lot in our growth. And now, spoiler, now you have to be a mentor for the engineers within your team, and you have to help them to reach the next level. And it doesn't matter if you decide to go through the management ladder or the individual contributor ladder. The point is going to be a bit different, but you need to be a mentor for the engineers around you. And the last one, and in my opinion the most important one, is the leadership topic. Many people think that they only need to be a leader in case they choose to be a manager, and it's completely false. For both ladders, you need to be a leader. So when I was preparing this talk, I was thinking about a definition of leadership, And I found many of them. Here you have some examples. So I'm sure if you ask your coworkers, your friends, for a definition of leadership, you will get completely different answers. So I will tell you mine. For me, leadership is the ability to influence and inspire others to achieve a shared vision, but it is also about effective communication and building trust among team members. And I want to put a special attention to trust because, you know, being a really good programmer, it's kind of easy if you invest a lot of time on it. But what happened about trust? This comes from a talk by Simon Sinek, and it's a really good talk. And he said that, okay, we all agree that no one wants in our team low-performing and low-trust people. We all agree on this, right? But what's happened with people who is high-performing but low-trust? These kind of people have been promoted over and over, and at some point, they reach a leadership position, and what happened here? Because, you know, someone who is high-performing is really nice, it's a really good coder, but if no one trusts him or her, we have an issue. Here, someone with this profile is a toxic leader and also a toxic coworker. So be careful with this. So the ideal situation is having someone who is high-performing and high-trust, right? That's the ideal. But it's really complex to find these kind of people. So if we have to choose another option in this matrix, the second one would be mid-performing and high-trust. Performance is something that you can improve. We all know how to measure performance, kind of. But we can have a plan for that. But how do we measure trust? Do you know how to measure trust? I don't. So if someone is capable to show this skill, it's someone that is really interesting for these kind of roles. So now it's clear that we have two tracks, and we just saw that some common points and differences between them. So now let's dig into the roles we can find in each of them. So here I put a staff plus engineer, and not only a staff, because as you grow, your impact and your scope is wider. But you need the same skills in case you are a staff engineer, principal, distinguished fellow, blah, blah, blah. So the tech knowledge and experience is a must-have. You can be a staff plus engineer if you don't have enough experience on the field, for sure, right? We all agree on this. But it's not about how many years you have been involved in the industry. It's more about, have you ever been involved in large and complex projects? What kind of trade-offs you had to take at some point? Were you able to mentor other engineers? So it's more about these kind of things. And also, soft skills, as we saw, is a must for both managers and staff plus engineers to have skills like communication, time management, and all these kind of things, mentorship, and so on, right? And then we have three main pillars for staff plus engineers. The first one is the big picture thinking. It means to step back and take a broader view. So it's an important difference between a senior engineer and a staff engineer, right? It means seeing beyond the immediate details and understanding the context that you are working in. And it also means thinking beyond the current time, whether that means initiating year-long projects, for example. Another important pillar here is leveling up, and leveling up in two directions. You are now responsible to help other engineers to reach the next level, so leveling up in terms of people-oriented, and also leveling up the whole area where you are impacting. So in our case, Android engineers, now our Android project is here, we want to take it there. How we are going to do this? But now you are responsible for this. The last one is the project execution. So when you are senior, one of your priorities is executing features, right? Taking requirements, align everyone on the same topic, people from product, people from design, and so on. But now you have to impact on big projects. It's not so easy as features. So now you are responsible for more strategic projects, and you need to have the whole context in order to take the right decision. So as a consequence of all of this is the impact. So for better or worse, your decisions have a major impact on the company. And there is a phrase I really like, which is, you need to be right. So does it mean that I have to be perfect? And not at all. But you need to be aware that now all your decisions have a huge impact. So also your mistakes have a huge impact on the company. In case we want to find a proper definition of what is a staff engineer, it's really hard to provide just one. So Will Larson, in his book Staff Engineer, provide 4 different archetypes, 4 different types of staff engineer. So here you have 4 different ones. In case of Qonto, we are like tech leads, a mix between tech leads and solvers. Tech leads because we try to guide the approach and execution of a particular team, and we partner with 1 or more managers. But we are also solvers because we try to dig deep into arbitrary complex problems and find an appropriate path forward. And also we jump between different teams when they need us, when we try to unblock different situations. We try to help with architecture topics, testing topics, and so on. So, okay, it's really nice, you are talking about concepts, you are talking about soft skills, blah, blah, blah. It's okay, but give me some examples. I can provide you 2 examples of current projects that staff engineers are leading in Qonto. The first one is the real to room migration. Back in the days, we decided to use Realm. It was implemented maybe not in the best way because we had Realm in every single layer in our application, and that's a problem. It wasn't only in the data layer. So it's really painful. It takes months or even more than a year. And the other one is modularization. So back in the days, you know, the company started and you create just one module, what we call the monolith. And now we are breaking the monolith into many feature modules, also really painful. So you need to have a plan for all of them, right? So to summarize what we do in our daily basis for this kind of projects, we try to follow this approach. First, we identify the problem, then we evaluate the context, then we define a strategy with multiple milestones and success metrics, and also we try to guess who is the proper people to address every single problem that we have. So here, delegation is super important. Then we monitor the evolution of the project, and finally we create a release plan. So also we have to have a plan B in case something goes wrong. So just to summarize some daily basis of a staff engineer. So when I was thinking about this, if I should become a staff engineer or a manager, this was a question that I asked myself. So I like coding, and if I decide to go for a staff engineer role, will I be able to continue coding? Do you know the answer I will provide? Yeah, exactly. It depends. Yeah, that's the most engineer answer that I could provide. Sorry. Okay, so it depends. And why it depends? Because now your goal is to solve problems efficiently. So sometimes coding is not the best way to spend your time. So now here delegation takes a relevant position, right? So now you have to be able to know who is the best person to tackle this problem. So now it's more about dealing with unknown situations and delegate tasks to other senior and mid engineers so they can take it. So another question that I ask myself, and also it's a question that is repeated over and over, is, okay, I'm an introvert person. Can I become a staff engineer? Because you are mentioning that I have to be a leader, I have to have communication skills, so I'm an introvert person, so I'm not sure if I can do this. Well, maybe I can answer with a phrase from Tanya Reilly, who wrote The Staff Engineer's Path, and it's, yes, you can be an introvert, but no, you can be a jerk. And we all know that kind of engineer who is top in terms of skills, hard skills, but no one wants to interact with, right? I'm not talking about this kind of people. When I talk about introvert people, I'm talking about those who feel that interacting with people drain their battery. So you don't have to love being around people, but you have to be a good leader, and you have to treat people well. That's the difference. So also you can find strategies that work for you. So for example, leverage your listening skills. Usually introvert people are really good listeners. Use it. Prepare thoroughly. So if you know that tomorrow you will have many interactions with people and you feel a bit stressed and exhausted, prepare all of these meetings so tomorrow when you have to face them, you will feel much more confident. And also embrace written communication. So you can have, it's not needed that every single meeting has to be an in-person meeting or through Skype, Slack, whatever. You can use written communication, so it will help you a lot in case you are an introvert. So, okay, if we jump into the management ladder, let's try to follow the same structure than we had for a staff plus engineer. So, first of all, we also need tech knowledge and experience, but here is smaller. We don't need to be so proficient in this area, right? Being a base senior engineer is enough for most of the cases. But soft skills here take a relevant position. Things like effective communication, empathy, adaptability, emotional intelligence are key if you want to be a good manager. And the same way we had 3 big columns here, on the staff plus engineer, here we have them as well. So the first one is the big picture thinking is the same. We need to step back and take a broader view. But there is a huge difference. Now, our daily basis is about people management. So you have 2 main responsibilities. The first one, help the people around you to grow. And the second one, you have to be like a snowplow, getting out of the way everything that prevents your team from doing its job, its work. So it's really important that you apply your knowledge in these 2 directions. And also, your daily basis will be about conflict resolution, hiring, project planning, budget management, performance evaluation. So you need to feel comfortable with these kind of things, and you need to learn all of these things. Here we have project delivery. Also, there is a difference between staff plus engineers and managers here. If you recall, on the staff plus engineer, we had project execution, and here we have project delivery. So now, you as a manager, you are responsible for ensuring that a project is launched in a timely manner. Managers work closely with staff plus engineers to understand all the possible blockers, risk, in order to secure whatever is necessary to ensure the project delivery. And again, as a consequence of all of this is the impact. Your impact as for the same than as a staff plus engineer, your impact is relevant here at this point. So some questions in case you are interested in the management ladder. So I'm switching to the management ladder and I love coding. I will be able to continue coding a little bit, right? Do you know the answer? No, I'm not saying it depends. So, okay, so here at this point, one of the biggest difficulties in transitioning from software development to management is coming to terms with the realization that producing code is no longer your primary objective. So you will try to find some excuses. So, for example, the first one could be, hey, but I need to keep my programming skills sharp. Okay, it's a completely valid phrase, but now your priority is no longer coding, right? You are people-oriented. So I'm sure you have a huge backlog of tasks that no one will take. So you can try to find some time here and there to take this kind of task. Also bugs, if you know that you have small bugs, you can use your time trying to fix them. It's not a perfect solution, but remember that now you have other priorities. Another excuse could be this one, and is, I can do it faster, I have more context. okay, remember that you are a leader, first of all. So taking things because you think that you can do it better is not a wise decision. Now, you are responsible for empowering others, and delegation takes a relevant position here as well. So, okay, you are telling me that there are two different ladders. We are talking about the different roles. Okay, so how to determine which career path is right for me? So, you know, sometimes we think that we need to, we see the career path like this, like stairs, where we have to reach the highest point, or like a game. We need to pass every single level to reach the final boss. But there are many different situations during our lifetime. So maybe you just became father or mother and you don't want to spend so much time on working topics. Maybe for you it's not worth it at all. So I want to say to you that senior is fine as a terminal level. And this is something that nowadays companies understand. So if you love your daily basis, if you don't want to continue learning new things, well, you will need to continue learning new things in the Android area and so on, but you don't want to jump into any of these ladders, I want to tell you that it's completely fine. But in case you want to continue growing, there are two main approaches. The first one is you can grow horizontally and the other one vertically. So what are the differences? In case you choose to grow horizontally, maybe you are a very senior engineer and you want to jump into the back-end world in order to be a more complete professional. This is an example of growth in an horizontally approach. And also, you can decide to grow vertically, what is what we are saying here. You can jump into the staff plus ladder or maybe in the management ladder. So in case you are interested in this vertical growth, I put some questions here for you that maybe could help you to take the right decision. So first of all, what do you enjoy doing the most? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What do you want to be doing every day? When you answer all these questions, you can try to categorize them and try to fit them in one of the ladders. So the final question will be, what do your strengths and favorite parts of your current job say about you? So this is like a template that you could use, but of course you need more information. Where can you find this information? I love these two books. Both of them were so helpful for me. The first one is The Staff Engineer's Path from Tanya Reilly, a really good book. And the other one is Staff Engineer by Will Larson. From most of the topics I'm discussing here about staff plus engineers are taken from these two books. But also, in case you want to go through the management ladder and you want more information about it, there are also two really good books. The first one is Engineering Management for the Rest of Us by Sarah Drasner. It's super nice. It's a super nice book, really easy to read. And the other one is The Manager's Path, which is like the most important book in terms of, well, for managers. So feel free to take a look. So, okay. Now it's clear to me that I want to be a staff engineer or maybe I want to be an engineering manager. So how can I apply for these kind of roles? Well, there are two main approaches. If your company gives you the opportunity to make this transition, it's great because you can create a plan with your manager. So you can grow with your manager. You can start planning how can I learn this thing? How can I go into these tables? So that's the ideal approach, but also there is a completely valid approach where it's jumping to another company. So sometimes it's hard to find this space in your company. So you have to learn as much as you can, and you need to learn both hard skills, soft skills, but also if you want to follow this approach, you need to learn interview skills. Because, you know, these kind of positions are leadership positions, and it's not really easy to be hired if you are not really good at interviews. So, okay, a few moments later, congratulations, you did it. You are a staff engineer, you are an engineer manager. So, after some days, weeks, months, you will be figuring out what is this about, right? And now you have real problems, you are in charge. So one of the most common topics when you do a big change is the impostor syndrome. And it's not only about the staff, engineers, engineering managers. It also happens when you become a senior engineer. So at some point, most of us feel like a fraud. So maybe at some point you doubt your skills and accomplishments, or you thought that your career is pure luck. And I want to tell you that it's completely normal. You are not alone. So most of the people who try to expand, to go beyond their comfort zone, experience this. So how do you combat impostor syndrome? First, acknowledge it, recognize that it's a natural response to success, and second, talk about it. Share your feelings with mentors, friends, or colleagues, and you will realize that you are not alone. And I want to tell you that you earned your place through hard work, dedication, and resilience. So embrace your achievements and let's go of self-doubt. So impostor syndrome may linger, but it doesn't define you. So stand all, embrace your capabilities, and keep striving for greatness. So you belong here, and you got what it takes. Also, I want to talk about the engineering manager pendulum, because this is a really interesting topic. We could have just one talk talking about it. So many folks move into the management ladder, and at some point, they decide that maybe it's something that it's not for them, so they jump again into the individual contributor ladder, and after several years, they jump again into the management ladder. And in my experience, some of the best professionals I have ever met are those who have experience in both ladders. So it's something that it's more natural now, jumping between ladders. So it's a really good opportunity for you to have in order to be a complete professional, having both skills from staff plus engineers and managers as well. So just before we finish, just a few tips. First of all, start small. Do not try to change everything as soon as you start your journey as a staff engineer or as an engineering manager. Observe, identify what is good and what can be improved. Be ready to listen, and only when you have all the pieces, start proposing incremental changes, but bit a bit. Also, lead by example. In essence, this means being the role model that you want your team to follow, right? So it's about living the values and principles you expect from others and creating a culture of trust, respect, and accountability within your organization and team. You can say, for example, for engineers, hey guys, please don't create huge PRs. And then 2 weeks after, you create a huge PR. It's something you can do. So when leaders lead by example, they inspire, they motivate their team to emulate their positive behaviors and values. So remember that you are a leader and you have to behave like that. Also use a productivity methodology. Now you will have many topics on your plate, so you will feel like you have much more stress, and you need a methodology to take out of you all of these thoughts. At Qonto, we use this methodology. Feel free to take a look. We don't have time for a deeper look on it. But this kind of methodology will help you to extract your thoughts from your mind and sort them in a correct way. It's really helpful for me. Also, good work-life balance means avoiding burnout. So it takes time to become a staff engineer or engineering manager. So you don't want to experience burnout and drop it after the huge effort you put on it. You will have more stress and you will need to learn how to manage it. So for every single person it's completely different, right? So to be honest, this is a thing I have just started doing now when I have started feeling more exhausted. So my personal learning here is listen to yourself, and if you identify that you are feeling this way, think about what you can do to reduce the stress. So for instance, you could take some days off and completely disconnect. You can also talk to your manager to to reduce your workload for some time. Or if you really need it, take a longer period to recover and come back with energy. I want to finish saying that you are the owner of your career path. Don't let anyone control your future. Investigate what works for you and make the right decision. And the most important thing here, enjoy the ride. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Juan.